We live in a world of cancel culture, and it's time to try and cancel some of the cancel culture. I have resorted to saying nonsense words. That's right, stick it to the man. The left and the mainstream media lie to you all of the time. I'm willing to bet you've believed some of their lies, so listen up. Don't turn this off. You need to listen as I cancel culture, one episode at a time. You're listening to Right Side of the Road, Cancelled. Alrighty, we are trying something new today, and if I sound weird, it's because you're weird, or because I'm losing my voice. Welcome to my new series, Cancelled. With so much cancel culture out there relentlessly hiding information from the public, I feel it is up to me to make sure you don't lose sight of the truth. There will be plenty of these episodes coming up because there are so many lies out there, so do not forget to like and subscribe so you do not miss out. If you're subscribed on YouTube, go subscribe on Apple Podcasts, and if you're subscribed on Spotify, go subscribe everywhere else. I'll leave links in the description. If you've listened to this channel for a while, you've definitely heard me say the word COVID-19 at least 50 times, and you've definitely heard me mention the infamous Omicron. Most of the data you've heard to make Omicron sound scary is either completely made up or altered in the way it is presented to you. Let's look at the data that people use to say that Omicron is dangerous to kids. It's not, by the way, if that wasn't clear. Recently, in the hearing for Biden's vaccine mandate, one of the judges for the Supreme Court made one of the most audacious claims of fake data. Justice Sotomayor made this statement about kids in hospitals right now. Here's that statement.
We have over 100,000 children, which we've never had before, in serious condition, and many on ventilators.
Okay, this is just completely false. And no, you know what? I'm going to... Do not comply with the vaccine mandate. This might be copyrighted. Okay, again, Justice Sotomayor's claim is just completely false. This is just a complete straight-up lie. Now, don't just take my word for it, although I would like you to trust me. Here's the director of the CDC telling you, right after Sotomayor's statement, that there are only 3,500 kids in hospitals right now.
It's roughly 3,500 in hospitals now.
Yes, there are, and in fact, what I will say is, while pediatric hospitalizations are rising, they're still about 15-fold less than hospitalizations of our older age demographic.
Okay, there you have it. Only 3,500 kids in hospitals. So, Sotomayor, maybe start with some cool math games. You were only off by 96.5%. So, yeah, guys, your justice system is in great hands. This brings up another point that I want to talk about, though. The difference between from COVID and with COVID. If you were hospitalized because of COVID, it infected your lungs, and you needed a ventilator or something because of COVID, you were hospitalized from COVID. COVID did the hospitalizing. I think that's a word. If you were hospitalized because you got a concussion and it turns out you just have COVID because everyone's getting Omicron, you were hospitalized with COVID. Plenty of these kids that the 3,500 in hospitals were hospitalized with COVID. They just broke their leg, and it turns out they have Omicron because everyone's going to get Omicron at some point. And while we're on the subject of this statement, let's cancel just another one of the statements Sotomayor made in her response.
Counsel, those numbers show that Omicron is as deadly and causes as much serious disease in the unvaccinated as Delta did. The numbers, look at the hospitalization rates that are going on. We have more affected people in the country today than we had a year ago in January.
Oh, man. Guys, you ever get told something just so plainly wrong, you don't know where to start to correct them? Okay, 1, Omicron is nowhere near as deadly as Delta or any of the other variants. Omicron is about 20% as deadly as Delta. Let's take a look at a little chart. This is data from the New York Times on COVID deaths. You can see your first smaller wave at the left of the chart. That's closer to the original variant when COVID first hit and we were all kind of freaking out a little bit. Then comes the huge spike after some cool down time. That spike is when Delta hit. And remember, these are deaths, not cases. Now, on the far right of the chart is the smaller spike. It's just a little bit of a hill, Omicron. Nowhere near as deadly as any of the other spikes. Also, these deaths, anyone recorded in Delta, the original variant, Omicron, they have the from versus with COVID debate as the cases in hospitals do. There were a large number of cases during Delta and the original COVID where people were getting shot in the head and it was recorded as a COVID death. It's like they were like, oh no, they have COVID. That was definitely the cause of death because COVID can carry a gun and it can just walk up and shoot anyone who doesn't wear a mask. That's Fauci. Fauci with the paranoia of Kevin from The Office. So Omicron just not nearly as deadly as Delta, and a plethora of these deaths that we've seen aren't actually caused by COVID. So, Sotomayor, what were you saying? You said to look at the numbers. What else? We just looked at the numbers. Oh, 2. Okay. We don't have more affected people, but we don't have more affected people, but we do have more infected people. Affected people being people who were like actually hospitalized and killed by Omicron. We have a significantly lower number of that. We have more infected people because Omicron is 70 times more transmissible than Delta, or 140 times more transmissible than the original COVID variant. Let's take a look at another chart from the New York Times. These are just COVID cases. Again, you've got your small spike early in the pandemic, then you've got a large one during Delta, just like the deaths chart. Then, whoa, you've got a spike larger than Delta right now. It's just going off the edge of the graph. That is because of Omicron. In fact, let me overlay these graphs, combine the deaths and cases one. The deaths usually follow the cases pretty well in the original and Delta spikes. Not with Omicron. You can see that it has a huge case spike, but the deaths are not increasing with them. And while we are on the subject of COVID and the vaccine here, I would like to relay a point I found kind of interesting about OSHA's unconstitutional vaccine mandate. People defending the mandate, I don't know why they are, they like to say that it is OSHA's job to protect workers, and it is. That's what OSHA was designed to do. They create laws to protect workers and their rights, and also make sure that they don't work in terrible factory conditions. So if the vaccine protects people from hospitalization and death, why not allow the mandate? So yes, it is OSHA's job to protect workers, but they do that in ways that are guaranteed not to harm them. OSHA can make you put hard hats on in construction sites, but there are no studies that say hard hats have a risk of just suddenly deciding to eat you alive if you're not wearing a mask. The COVID vaccine does protect you from death and hospitalization, but it carries unknown risks and the potential of myocarditis and heart problems. So, again, if hard hats can't just kill you out of the blue, the vaccine has side effects. I know I'm not supposed to say that. YouTube, please don't kill me. But they carry unknown risks. That's why OSHA can't just mandate this across the board. Inflation is a huge problem here in the United States. For that, we can thank Brandon himself. Most people realize that inflation is a problem. Now, according to the Associated Press, 68% of people have the economy as their top election concern, and the number of people concerned about inflation has doubled over the year. Biden is kind of ashamed of himself, or as he should be. He would be ashamed of himself, actually, if he could get his brain to function for more than 2 seconds at a time. Inflation has also caused gas prices to just skyrocket, just completely skyrocket. A few months ago, the Democratic Congressional Campaign Committee, I'm just going to call them DCCC because I don't want to say that 5 times, released the world's dumbest chart on Twitter. The caption simply read, "Thanks, at Joe Biden." Let's take a closer look at that chart because I'm kind of doubtful that gas is going down like that. Its data was edited, so it looks like gas prices are just going straight down. No peaks, no nothing, just completely straight down. They're doing anything but going down in reality. Now, this chart covers a week's span of time. Already a red flag. On top of that, it is written in super incremental marks and cents, so it goes down through a lot of those increments. The price went from $3.40 to $3.38.5. So it went down by less than 1.5 cents. But you want to play the charts game, Biden? Let's play the charts game. This is a chart from YCharts.com covering the gas prices from the start to the end of 2021, sorry. Biden took office at the beginning of 2021 with normal gas prices because Trump was great to our economy. Then it just skyrockets. Once Biden was inaugurated, his policies did this to our gas. Our car's gas, we're not, okay. On the subject of our economy, Biden's administration released yet another chart packed full of stupidity and information manipulation. I need to go bleach my eyes after seeing it. The White House released a chart claiming that Biden is responsible for the most job growth out of a president ever. The problem with the chart is that it's just wrong. It's just not. Okay. Biden has been in office for only a year, and this chart uses average per month numbers, meaning that it averages all of the jobs in every month of the entire administration. That's why Trump's is lower, because he had the year where everyone dropped off because of COVID. And the reason that Biden is spiking is because he had the easiest year. Before COVID, during Trump's administration, America gained 7 million jobs. The reason that Trump is in the negatives is because the average was dragged down significantly by the virus, like I said. Biden couldn't even raise his average anywhere close to what Trump was in the 1 year he's had where he could have done it easiest. Really, he's not very competent with these things. And that's because he's paying people to stay home. All of these stimulus checks, these unemployment checks that are causing inflation, are paying people if they stay out of the workforce. The Wendy's near me doesn't let people go inside because they don't have enough workers. It's an outrage. When President Biden was elected on the saddest day for the modern U.S. history for most Americans and the second happiest day for Democrats, next to January 6th, the Democrats made the outrageous claim that Biden was the most popular president in U.S. history. You'll hear this fact used in the amazing Let's Go Brandon songs that topped iTunes within a week. The reason they say this is because he received a record 81 million votes. Could this be that there was election fraud going on? Possibly. YouTube, I said possibly. YouTube will completely destroy me if I say definitely. There was some video evidence of it at the time, and also Democrats had some kind of unethical tactics that could have led to more votes being counted than there were. Anyway, is this almost definitely because the media rigged people's votes and their perspective? Yes. Could this also be that people just didn't want to vote for Trump? Also yes. The media completely screwed people's opinions of Trump and made him a hugely polarizing figure. The left had a great turnout that year because they didn't want Trump to win again. That does not mean that Biden is the most popular president in U.S. history. In fact, he is quite the opposite. 52.3% of people disapprove of Biden and what he's done. That's according to a very left-leaning poll. The regular polls say about 70% of people disapprove of Biden and what he's done, and only 30% of people approve. And sadly, we have reached the end of this episode of Cancelled. The left is faking data and fudging the numbers left and right, so do not forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on the truth. If you haven't already, go check out my website over at rightside-of-the-road-politics-for-kids.wordpress.com. I'm getting really fast at saying that. Also, please subscribe on both YouTube and Apple Podcasts or whatever podcast platform you're listening on. As of right now, I have 22 listeners on podcasting platforms. I'm trying to hit 50, so share this podcast with all of your friends. Thank you so much for listening. I'm Hendrik, and this is Right Side of the Road, Cancelled.